Hi guys, welcome to another episode of the Dive In podcast. My name is Sheila.
My name is Lydia, and we are very excited to have you here with us today. Today we're gonna talk about relationships.
So
Let's dive right in.
Okay, so guys, this is our fourth episode. When, like Lady said, we're going to be talking about relationships. So please subscribe, like, share, hit that notification bell so you don't miss out on our videos.
Yeah.
So we're going to talk about relationships today, Lydia, and I want to first of all say we are not relationship experts.
Ding.
And a lot of what we're just going to share is basically our personal opinion, observation, experience. Yeah. So, like we've always said, this is just our opinion. Take what you want to take and live with us what you want to live with us.
That's true.
And also, just the comment section is always open. So, comment and let us know if there's anything we missed out. We might do another episode and share that. So let's dive right into it.
So before you even think of getting into a relationship, I feel like there's some things you need to think about.
Yes.
One is just taking your time.
Sis. That is just like as basic as that is, I feel like it is just the most important thing because it just allows you to learn the other person or to actually know if that person you want. Like if that person is what's the word?
Compatible.
Yeah, like if you're compatible or even if that is really who you want. Because a lot of the time, like, looks and stuff just make you want to dive in. The only diving in you should be diving in is in the diving post. Into relationships. But seriously, what I mean is like time is really important. I think it's so important because if you don't take your time, you make really bad decisions or you make uninformed decisions, which they end up being detrimental.
True.
Down the road. So
also, I would say just get to know yourself first. Take time and know who you are, what you stand for. Things like simple things like where you come from and where you're going. Those things navigate you and you get to know, the kind of person that you want in your relationship and who you are as a person.
That's really important. Do your personal work.
True, and it kind of boils down to things like childhood trauma. If you've got any trauma that you have, I feel like it would be a good idea to identify what that trauma is, to actually get the right tools to, kind of deal with it and navigate before you get into a relationship, because some traumas are very detrimental to people's relationships.
I love that, isn't it? And we normally don't realize until you're in, and then when the relationship is broken, it's not working, then you now go for counseling, then you're told it's because of
like traumas or something.
Interesting.
And because we're talking about traumas also, that's kind of like a challenge. So what challenges, what are the challenges that common challenges in a relationship?
I think in my own opinion, I think the biggest challenge in relationships is just the lack of people just rush into it and therefore they are not compatible, and then it just becomes more of a like a tolerating or what's the word, like you're just there for the sake of it. You're not really there because you want to be there. So I think the biggest challenge is the rush. That, you rush into it,
right?
And then you're already in, and it's not really what you wanted. So
the rush.
Like if you took your time, you would not even you would have realized before you are, say, married or done everything, and then now working out with that you wouldn't even have to walk out because you wouldn't have gone in.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? So I think one of the biggest challenges is the rush, and the other one, communication.
Because if I'm assuming that you know what I'm thinking, That's the problem.
You know, women, we have, okay, am I speaking in general?
Well, yeah, just say
true.
generally.
Yeah, generally.
Yeah.
Women, we have this tendency whereby we are like, you know, he should do this for me. You know, he should know. Sis, communicate.
Yeah.
Communicate what you want.
Yeah.
Communicate what you want in a relationship. Communicate your expectations to your man of what kind of a man you want him to be.
Yeah.
Because he might be thinking he's the best partner in the world. He's doing the right thing. And you're here dying of like, you know, that's not what I want. You know, I would have wanted him to do things differently. So I think it's very important that we communicate.
Yeah.
Communication is really key in a relationship, isn't it? Yeah.
And with communication, at least you know the expectations that you have, you know, for this person and the expectations that you have for yourself.
That's really good.
Yeah, it's a good thing to just say, you know, like if you're in a relationship with me, this is what I expect, this is what I want, and then this person
And I feel
gets
like
a chance.
it should not be like in a formal setup whereby you're like, sit here. Now I want to tell you what I expect as a woman. Yeah, I want you to open the car door for me. I want you to buy me flowers. I want you to da 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 da.
Yeah.
It should just be in your everyday interaction.
Yeah.
You know, casually, because I feel like it will be a very, you know, upfront or
That's true.
if you are like that. So I think communicate a lot, you know, as you get to know each other. Back again to that.
Yeah.
Take your time to know this person. So
True.
and let him also know you, because it's not, you know, it's obviously both ways.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think that will really help when it comes to challenges and communication.
You know, being abroad also, you know how like it's like we can't really balance work and life.
Yeah.
And sometimes I feel like it's important for people to take time off work and give the relationships time, because abroad people work too much. You can work forever and just, you know, in a blink of an eye, you're 50 and you don't know what happened.
Yeah.
So,
Why do I feel attacked? Oh dear, but it's true though.
Yeah.
Where like it's really a hard life balance.
is.
Like it's just so hard to find. You know, like everything is important. Family is important. Your relationship with your partner is important. But work is also important. So
True.
it's just about balance. Yeah, and just
finding.
making time. Not make time.
Make
There's no
time.
time. You just
Yeah.
have to decide. Okay, you know, on this such set date we're going on holiday or whatever.
Yeah.
However way you catch up, and just catch up. Because I think one of our friends said once, Kerry said that the longer you're apart, the more you drift apart, because you think, well, I haven't seen this person for a week and I don't feel any type of way. I don't miss them or whatever. So why do I even need them?
Yeah, that's
you
true.
know?
Yeah.
So I think it's important to connect from time to time. I know life happens and work happens, but yeah.
And you know, with communication also that we've been talking about, I feel like there's some expectations that people need to talk about, that real life expectations, things like financial expectations that you might have. Those things are non-negotiable, you know. If you want to be in a relationship where, you know, like you don't want to pay the bills and, you know, and that's just what you want, I feel like it's a good thing to communicate. And if you're at a point where you feel like, you know what, I can chip in, I'd want to, I'd love to, do so. So financial expectations, I think, are one of the most important things people should talk about.
Finances are becoming, because of the economy and how the life is just becoming, finances are just becoming a deal breaker. Like, you know, like people just, it's like a lot of people are getting into relationships because of finances. Because like a lot of people, I remember someone actually asking me out before I met my partner, and he was like, oh, we can cost share. You know, like his like his talking points were like, you know, can you imagine if we moved into a 1-bedroom house together, then we'll just cost share. And I'm like, bro, are you interested in me or interested in me paying bills with you? You know what I mean? Like, don't get me wrong, there's nothing wrong with paying bills, but like times have just changed, man. Like economically, convenience. Relationships are more convenient because, if you live together, obviously you'll chip in or whatever, and the rent will be half, Wi-Fi bills and electricity bill and whatnot. But like, it's very important to communicate to each other in terms of finances. And then once you're on the same page, then move into getting into the relationship. Don't get into a relationship fast, moving with someone's daughter or son, and then start telling them, I expect you to do everything for me.
Or expected that you knew.
Yes.
That you were supposed to pay the bills.
Yes.
Or you were supposed to,
or buy me everything that I want.
Yeah.
Or, could be anything, or I expected you to give me all your money so I can invest for you, You've got to communicate from the beginning so that if this guy thinks, oh, look, you're a nice lady, but financially we don't agree, then you guys can just be like, oh, cool,
That's true.
See you later.
Yeah.
Yeah, or if the guy thinks, well, this girl is whatever, communication, I think, is really key. And I think a lot of people talk about communication in the relationship more than communication before. Because I think people don't want to invest in something that hasn't belonged to them. So while you're still out there hitting on each other, it's like, yeah, whatever. But then once you get in, you want to talk. But I think the talking should happen from the beginning.
Yeah.
So I think it's something to just keep in mind.
True.
Yeah.
And also, like, here, like, since we are abroad and we're in Australia, you'd find there are people who expect that because I am dating Toro will put me in her visa. Or, Toro will move from her visa to mine because we are dating and we're in a relationship. Well, if that's your expectation, please communicate early first so that I just know when to run. And then I know when to run. And then I feel like
to put you in the visa. Maybe you will be
or maybe I'll be like, yeah, we can do it next year. Or something like that. But
you know what? Let me tell you something. There are actually people who come out here and they meet each other, and that putting each other on each other's visa is like, is working for them. It's a good thing. Good for you.
Yeah.
But for me, it's like, I want to speak to the girls. Let me just use this opportunity. I know it's not about international students or whatever.
Yeah.
But I want to speak to the young girls who come to Australia to study and they get into relationships. They think they're relationships. And they end up putting people in they end up quitting school and joining another person's visa because they are now in a relationship. And then they start paying school fees for that person whom they've joined, whom she's,
I know there's someone looking at the screen like, oh my God, that happens. It happens.
Like, let me tell you.
It happens.
Bro.
It happens. Or if I'm not exiting my visa to get into someone will get into mine.
Which is allowed if you're like, whatever. But like, I really have an issue because at the end of the day, the lady, or say in this case, it's the guy who's going to school, therefore the ladies quit school. So the guy finishes school, comes to you, and then marries another girl who stayed in her own visa and graduated, or just, or even if doesn't marry, like, like you're just left hanging. You've wasted your time. Sis, make wise choices. Like, like take your time.
True.
Take your time before you can make such, rational decisions.
Yeah,
like,
and we're not saying like it doesn't work.
Irrational or rational?
Rational.
Rational decisions.
I think so. I don't know.
Yeah.
I would say also, like in terms of, like the visa thing and visa sharing and shifting visas and all that, I feel like it's not a bad thing if we are both in separate visas and we are both working towards our careers, and in that way, when we are all done with school, now we can be like, okay, so where are you at? This is where I'm at. Now we can do this thing, That is for the people who,
genuinely are in a relationship.
Yes, and they want everyone to just be independent with their visas, Yeah, it's a thing, by the way, for those who think it's I don't know, gibberish, but it's true.
It's true, isn't it?
Yeah, it does.
But just be cautious. Yeah, be very cautious because it's really sad
That's
to
true.
see what happens to young students who come overseas.
Yeah, that's very true.
Yeah. So anyway, let's talk about the key points that you should discuss with your boyfriend,
Potential
fiance, husband, when if you get married or you know, or let's just say boyfriend, before you get into marriage, or you get into
like a serious
romantic
relationship.
Yeah.
I would say one is, it's a thing now. Do you want kids or not? Are you a person who wants children or not? Are you a person who wants a family or not? I feel like that is something people need to talk about. People date and then you get married and then in the, you know, like one of you is excited about starting a family and the other one's like, I didn't tell you I didn't want children. No? I know.
And you'll have wasted your time and money.
We live in a world where it's
changed.
Yeah,
Don't
like
assume.
it's not an expectation that somebody wants to have children.
Yes.
No. We live in a world where, you know what, just communicate. Just say, you know what, I'm the kind of person who wants kids and I want them seriously, or I'm the kind of person who does not want children at all, and we respect that.
Yeah. And if someone says, you know, if someone changes their mind along the way, at least you will have had this conversation before. Yeah. And you'll be going into it knowing what you're getting yourself into.
That's true.
Yeah, that's really good, isn't it?
Yeah.
I think also we should talk about like your personal goals. True. Like, you know, because a lot of the times they might not align, like they might not be the same.
True.
And I feel like it's very important to talk about them and also just so your partner can either support you, and if they don't support you, then they should not be your partner in the first place. So I think we should be able to talk about that. Yeah. And now, like, you know, career-wise, a lot of people, like, you know, do like distance relationships, you know. Yeah. And if my career is so important to me and I've been sent to work overseas, you know, if you had this conversation from the beginning, like, listen, I want to get my PhD, I want to advance my career, and it involves traveling and whatnot. And if your partner says, yeah, I'll support you, then, you know, all of you will be on the same page. So I feel like that's something that should be communicated, you know. True. Yeah.
And to also realize that we are human beings and we change. So maybe at the beginning, maybe, you know, like I have a 9-to-5 job, I'm very consistent. Yeah. There's a point in my life where I would never want to do that job anymore. And I feel like, you know, if you have a reasonable partner, it's a good thing for you to change with them, just so, you know, you don't lose the person that you had because of such changes that are kind of life-changing.
That's really good, isn't it?
Yeah.
I think also it's very important to be honest about the things you want your partner to know about you, because a lot of the times the world has set standards whereby certain things are like, if you believe in certain things or do certain things, then you're a good wife or a good partner. Yeah. You know, like if you're educated, if you can cook, if you can clean. Yeah.
I remember the Shonaro video about chapati, girls who know how to pick chapati, to pick a chapati.
Yeah, I didn't watch it.
Yeah, she was just like, all those girls who know how to cook chapati, they're like, they meet someone who doesn't know how to cook chapati, then they're like, would you pick a chapati? Would you pick a chapo? And they keep saying it over and over.
Yeah, because it's important.
It's annoying, They think it's a very, you know, it's a thing that you should do. It's a standard, you know.
Yeah, that qualifies you to be a good wife. I digress. No, that's fine. Like, so I think it's very important to just be honest, because a lot of people present as this person who can do this and can do that to impress this man. And that's not you. Maybe you don't even like doing that. You know? So don't be honest. Be honest with yourself.
True.
Yeah.
If you're honest, hopefully he's honest too.
Yeah, and he should also be honest with you. Hopefully, yeah. So true. I think that's really important, isn't it?
True.
Yeah.
Also, you know, like if you're getting into a relationship, it's a good idea to kind of speak or talk about your deal breakers, things that, you know, you cannot tolerate. Yeah. Yeah. The things that if this person, you know, has these values, then I'm like, no. And then there are these that I'm like, Okay, maybe.
Compromise.
So yeah. So like it's a good thing to just talk about those, values.
Yeah.
Or these breakers.
Yeah, that's really good, isn't it? Another thing I think is so important is to understand each other's love language. I know love language has really been talked about, and now with social media, I feel like it's just exaggerated.
Yeah.
If you ask me, because like your love language doesn't like it doesn't have to be a specific. So it doesn't have to match what the society thinks. It doesn't
Yeah.
have to be like for other people. Your love language could be just something very different and so unique, like, and that's fine.
Yeah.
And I feel like if both of you understand each other's love languages,
Yeah.
it's easy to get to show love to each other.
Yeah.
Rather than just be thinking, oh, if I buy Sheila flowers, that will make her day.
True.
And maybe I don't like flowers.
True.
Like maybe, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I think understanding each other's love language is really a very important thing, isn't it? Yeah.
And to also realize that it's not all rosy.
Tell me, sis.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That it's not all rosy. That sometimes the relationship can, you guys can hit a wall, and it happens.
There are challenges.
Just prepare yourself for such times. Yeah.
And it's so sad that the social media has, like social media now, this is the disadvantage of social media. It portrays relationships or marriage as this, perfect. Like for you to actually post online, you've got to be, like doing really well. You're
Even
on
the
holidays with your
movies.
partner. Even the movies, the good ones are the ones which the man does this and the woman does that, Yeah, so I think it's just so important to realize that it's not picture perfect.
That's true.
And accept your relationship for what it is and work on it. Understand each other, understand where the challenge is, and work on it together. Because, there's nothing like it's a perfect relationship.
Yeah.
So I think it's very important to remember that.
And it's also important not to compare your relationship with any other person's relationship. Don't compare. Because there's levels to this thing, Like those guys who you're looking up to, they're on some other level. And you guys are here, and this is not bad.
And they have their own priorities.
Yeah.
Their priorities could be to travel the world. Your priority could be to, buy a home.
Yeah.
And that's fine. Like we all have different priorities. So
Right.
can you imagine you're comparing yourself to other people and not knowing also what's their challenge?
True.
They could be wanting what you have so bad and you're busy working hard, or they're still you're letting them steal your joy by comparing.
Yeah.
So it's very important to I love that video.
True. So how do you maintain? So let's say now you're in the relationship, you have, taken time to work on yourself, you know the expectations that you have for yourself and for your partner, and now you've decided you're in a relationship. How do you maintain that relationship?
I think it comes back to communication. Because now you know this person. You've seen that, oh, you know what, Mr. So-and-so, you fit into my partner bracket, so get in there. And then now to maintain that, you just have to keep constantly communicating with each other at every point.
That's
like
true.
Don't push things aside. Try and communicate with your partner. Try and let them know when things are not working. If things are not what you want, And I feel like if you communicate at every stage, then both of you try and learn and reflect from situations and move on to the next step.
True.
So, I think communication is really important.
Yeah, another I would say would be compromise. Yeah. Actually, I
really
remember there's this podcast that I think it was Oprah's one. Michelle Obama said, there's no such thing as 50-50 in a relationship. So, like compromise. There are things that your partner would do for you that you could never do, and there are things that you would do for him that
you could probably not do them.
Yeah.
That's
So
really true.
Compromise is key.
Sacrificial giving. Sacrificial giving is really important in a relationship. But like if you don't have that mindset of 50-50, both of you will really do well.
That's true.
Because like you said, not all the time you will be able to reciprocate what your partner is
Right.
doing.
Yeah.
Or because you've done this, I'll do that. When you realize that this is a family unit and both of you want your family to thrive,
Yeah.
it doesn't matter who puts in 60 and who puts in 40.
True.
You know?
True.
Yeah, so I think it's really important to remember that.
Yeah. And to prioritize respect. You know, you realize that this is a whole different person and I'm a whole different person too. And I have my own values and my own boundaries, and it's and that person also has their own, and it's a good thing to just respect this person for who they are and what they believe in. Yeah.
And treat them with respect, you know, like even though there's misunderstandings, I think respect is really key. Like personally, I really can't stand rude people. Like that used to be like, if you're rude to me, like I don't care if you take a other box, like that's just an, you know. Like, you just treat them with respect. Even when you don't agree, treat them with respect. Communicate with respect. So, yeah, respect is big, isn't it?
That's true. And just tolerating each other. There's some things that person does that you feel like you can't stomach. But you're like, one day at a time.
Yeah.
True.
Yeah, give them grace, you know, like especially as women, we are very particular in how we do things.
Yeah.
And you know, sometimes men are just like, whatever, just leave it there. And you don't like things being left there. And instead of erupting like a volcano, you know,
You just...
you know, some battles you've just gotta, you know, choose them, you know. Yeah. So what, you're gonna fight because they leave their shoes everywhere in the house, or you know,
or maybe that is the point where you realize, I need to exit this relationship.
Not because of this. What are you talking about?
But then, okay, then.
Okay, not in that scenario.
Yes,
not in that example.
Depends. But I feel like
you're gonna exit a relationship because your man left her socks.
At what point do you think people should exit relationships?
Well, that's a whole different, you know, communication. That's a whole different.
This is where things go downhill.
Yeah.
This is where things go downhill.
Yeah.
You people have hit rock bottom. Yeah. So.
Look, I feel like once all is said and done, you've tried everything to make it work.
Everything being
communicating to him or things out. If you've gone for therapy, you know, if you have spoken to your parents, you know, if it's no longer serving you, if it's starting to affect your mental health, you know, like it's not worth it. And because we come from a society whereby we have been taught to vumilia. What's vumilia?
To be resilient.
Like, you can't be resilient in a toxic relationship that is starting to affect your mental health, that is starting to affect your children, you know, that is no longer serving you, you know, like it's just not worth it. You know? Yeah, you've got to choose yourself. When everything's just falling apart, just choose yourself. Yeah. But speaking for myself, like, you know, you come from a society whereby you are taught to be resilient. In a relationship, it's like marriage is final. You know, like if you're married, you're married. There's no out. You just have to stay there and take it all in. And I feel like it's important to say, you know, when all is said and done, when you've gone for therapy, you've tried to make it work. If it's not working, just leave. You know, if it's no longer healthy for you, you know, if it's now affecting your children, it's affecting your mental health, you know what, just leave. Like, it is so sad that a lot of people stay in toxic relationship and stay in a relationship where there's a lot of domestic violence, and just because of the society and because everyone's saying, or, you know, it's so, you know, let's sit down and talk. Well, you know yourself that it's already done. Like, there's no, you know, it's not gonna work no matter what anybody says or does. So I think it's important to know when to exit, because people are gonna tell you to stay there until the end. But the question is, when is the end? You know, is the end when you're dead, or, you know, when you're mentally sick? You know, you can't come back from it. So if it's not, you know, it's not worth it. Really, it's not worth it. Just because people are gonna talk, because you want to please your family, that you're in a relationship. it's not worth it really,
Yeah.
because do it for yourself. If
Yeah.
you're there, be there
it
for
for
yourself.
yourself. Yeah.
If you're not there, if you feel like it's no longer working, just you know.
Yeah.
And I feel like also our parents and our elders should say, should stop encouraging people to stay in toxic relationships.
Yeah.
And they should start to welcome their children back home if it's no longer working.
Yeah.
And support them through it. Like, it's, marriage is not an achievement.
True.
Like, that's just it.
Yeah.
It's not a standard whereby if you're not married, it's wrong, and if you're married and you stay there, and
Yeah.
a lot of people regret when someone's died, or or then someone's come home and just whatever incapacitated them. Is there a word like that? Yeah. So I think it's important that parents let their children know that
They're always welcome.
they're always welcome home.
Yeah.
Just come back home. Man. It's not that serious.
Yeah.
Yeah, and just support them through it. Don't make it look like it's a failure, that you went into a relationship and it didn't work and it's your fault.
Yeah.
Because already you'll be blaming yourself. You'll be thinking, man, I should have done this. Maybe if I did this, it would have worked. Maybe if I did that, it should have worked. But no, And if you're, if you're facing domestic violence, we will put a link on the description below about the services you can access. Don't stay in a domestic violent relationship.
Yeah.
It's not worth it.
It's not.
Yeah.
It's really not. And I feel like it's, it's important to realize that it takes strength to even talk to somebody about it.
100%.
Yeah. So if you've done that already, you're already 10 steps ahead. And just keep going. Yeah, and there's support out there.
Yeah.
Support will always be out there. And yeah, we hope you find a way out.
Yeah. Whew, that was downhill, wasn't it?
I'm telling you.
But thank you so much for watching. That is all we had for this episode about relationships. Please don't forget to share, like, and subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you don't miss a video from us. And yeah, thank you.
Thank you guys. We love you so much. Bye.